Had Ruben on Lobo Talk last night. Did a good job.
Very good job. He's scored over 30 points 5 times in his career as well. So, you know, you look at his scoring average from the latter part of last season through this season, and Ruben has been very difficult to stop. And I think that's the thing that Coach McKay is looking for out of the players like Jeff Hart, and the fact that many teams will double-team Ruben, and they've got to be ready to hit those open shots.
Jim Kesenick at 6'10", jumping against David Quixote of New Mexico at 6'9". As Bob Staffen, the referee, will toss up the basketball. Up it goes. Tipped. It's controlled in the backcourt by D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring it into the forecourt for IPFW. Over on the right wing to Jeremy King. King dribbles in a step, lobs underneath to Kesenick. Kesenick will bring the ball back out in front to Woodall. Comes on the left side to Wyan. Wyan being guarded by Reuben Douglas. Now goes out top of the key to Jeremy King. King will bring it on the left side to Terry Collins. Back out in front. King gets it over on the right wing to D'Angelo Woodall, and the shot is up. It's an air ball, and Mark Walters comes down with the ball. Walters bringing the ball up court for New Mexico, gets it across the timeline. Man-to-man defense by IPFW goes to Jamal Williams, over to Reuben Douglas. Comes back on the right side to Jeff Hart, goes inside to Jamal Williams. Fadeaway jumper, good. Jamal Williams with a fadeaway jumper from 15, and the Lobos lead 2-0. D'Angelo Woodall gets it down court to Jeremy King. King dribbles down the left wing, back out to Woodall. Woodall will bring it right side to Rick Wyan. Wyan looking inside, wants to go inside and can't. Gets it back out in front to Terry Collins. On the left wing to Jeremy King. Intercepted by David Quixote. Good defense by Quixote. Ball to Mark Walters. Walters again into the forecourt for New Mexico. Cross-court pass to Jeff Hart. Bounce pass down on the right wing to Jamal Williams. Williams gets it out in front to Mark Walters. On the left wing to Jeff Hart. Out to Reuben Douglas, top of the key. Douglas drives inside, puts up a shot, doesn't go. Down with a rebound is Rick Wyan. Wyan will feed the ball up court to D'Angelo Woodall, and Woodall will work it up court for IPFW. Woodall at the top of the key on the left wing to Rick Wyan. Wyan guarded by Reuben Douglas, trying to drive, gets the ball inside to Kesenick. Kesenick puts up the jumper, doesn't go. Quixote with a rebound. Gets it cross court to Mark Walters. Walters hustles it up court far sideline. Gets on the right wing to Reuben Douglas. Douglas out to Jamal Williams. On the left wing to Jeff Hart. Puts it up for 3. It's good. Jeff Hart from the left wing, and the Lobos jump out to a 5-0 lead. Rick Wyan to put the ball in play to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring it into the forecourt. 17:57 left to play in the first half. Woodall shouting out the play from center circle. Brings it on the left wing to Jeremy King. King has the ball on the floor. Out in front to Terry Collins. Collins guarded by Mark Walters. Down on the right wing to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall looks inside, goes to Ryan, puts it up. It won't go, and a push underneath. The push is on Reuben Douglas, and that's number 1 on Douglas. First team foul on New Mexico. 5-0 Lobos lead. 17:42 left to play in the first half. Going to the free throw line will be Rick Wyan, the 6'7" sophomore. And Wyan at the free throw line is a 93% free throw shooter. 26 out of 28 on the year. Not the guy you would want at the free throw line late in the ball game. Rick Wyan bends at the knees. Free throw on the way, and it's good. And IPFW gets on the scoreboard, and the crowd will quiet a little bit and sit down. 17:42 left to play in the first half, and Wyan up to shoot his second free throw. Has it on the way, and it's good. So Wyan continues to shoot free throws very well. First 2 points. And now IPFW picking up the Lobos full court. Reuben Douglas gets it across the timeline to Mark Walters out near the center circle. Walters puts the ball on the floor for New Mexico. Gets the screen from Quixote. Dribbles down on the right wing. Picks up his dribble. Bounce passes to Jamal Williams. Williams dribbles at the top of the key. Now drives on Wyan. Goes inside. Dumps it off underneath, and a foul will be called. Foul called on IPFW. The foul is on number 2, Rick Wyan. That's his first team foul on IPFW. It'll be the Lobos ball inbounds. Mark Walters will be the trigger man at the baseline north end. Feeds it in to David Quixote. Quixote bounces it out in front to Jamal Williams. Williams will get it to Mark Walters on the left wing. Puts it up high off the back of the iron. Scramble for the rebound, and it goes out of bounds off the hands of David Quixote. It will be IPFW's ball in. To put it in play will be Rick Wyan. Gets the ball in to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring the ball up court. The senior out of Freeport, Illinois. Goes on the right wing to Terry Collins. Collins out in front to Jeremy King. King goes back on the right wing to Jim Kesenick. Over on the left side to Wyan. Wyan gets it out in front to Terry Collins. Collins takes the shot. Doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound. And hustling after it, Jamal Williams. The ball goes out of bounds. And it will be IPFW's ball in. 35 seconds on the shot clock. 16:52 left to play in the first half. 5-2, New Mexico leads. IPFW's ball inbounds. That's Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. To put it in play, Jeremy King, the 6'6 senior out of Toledo, Ohio. King slaps the ball, setting up the out-of-bounds play. Looks, passes the ball in. Jeff Hart tips it away, but it's picked up by D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring the ball into the forecourt for IPFW. Dribbles to the top of the key. Picks it up, throws the ball away, and it'll be New Mexico's ball in. He tried to get it to Jeremy King. Now Javen Tyndall will check into the ball game for New Mexico. Tyndall comes in replacing Mark Walters. Lobos. Jamal Williams to put the ball in play on the turnover. 16:43 left to play in the first half. 5-2 New Mexico. Jamal Williams will inbounds to Javen Tyndall. Catches it on the short hop. Tyndall will bring it across the timeline. Dribbles low with a left-hand dribble. Switches to the right hand. Now dribbles down top of the key. Gets it over to Jamal Williams on the left wing. Jamal Williams trying to drive. Is cut off. Now still works his way inside. Puts it up reverse. Doesn't go. And scramble for the rebound. And pulling it down, Jim Kesenick. Kesenick fires it over to D'Angelo Woodall. Down on the left wing to Jeremy King. King will get it out to Woodall. Woodall cut off by Jamal Williams. Now goes inside. Has the shot rejected away. And a foul is going to be called underneath. And the foul is on Jamal Williams, and that's number 1 on Jamal Williams. Second team foul on New Mexico. Going to the free throw line will be D'Angelo Woodall. He's not scored tonight, but D'Angelo Woodall is a 69% free throw shooter, 11 out of 16 on the season. So Woodall's free throw on the way, good. IPFW still has not scored a field goal, but they have 3 points on 3 free throws, and the Lobo lead is 5-3. They did lead 5-0. And Woodall already has his next free throw on the way, and it's good. Coming into this basketball game tonight, IPFW was hitting 71% of the free throws. So far, they're 1,000, 4-4. Ball fed to David Quixote. Quixote gets it on the right wing to Ruben Douglas. Cross-court pass to Jeff Hart. Out to Javen Tyndall for 3. Good. Javen Tyndall from the left wing. 3 points for Tyndall. 8-4, Lobos lead. Down toward Jeremy King on the left wing. King trying to drive on Jamal Williams. Will go inside. Puts up the shot. It doesn't go. Williams comes down with a rebound. Jamal Williams hustles it down court. Will feed it on the right side to Jeff Hart. He hits the 3 from the right wing. He has 6 points. 11-4, Lobos lead. Ball inbound to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall trying to settle his team down. 11-4, New Mexico. Woodall brings the ball into the forecourt with a left-hand dribble. Over on the right wing to Terry Collins. Collins has it on the floor out in front to Jeremy King. Gets the ball over to D'Angelo Woodall. Cut off by Jeff Hart. Woodall will dribble away and brings the ball back out in front. Gets it to Jeremy King on the left wing. King looking underneath. Can't find anybody. Puts it on the floor. Trying to drive on Jamal Williams. Goes inside. Ball deflected. Ruben Douglas comes up with a loose ball. Ruben Douglas will hustle it down court for New Mexico. Bounce passes to David Quixote. Off his hands, out of bounds. It will be a timeout on the floor. It'll be IPFW's ball in bounds when we resume. 15:06 left to play in the first half. It's New Mexico 11, IPFW 4. This is the Low Spring Arbor, Michigan. Yes, he is the son of the coach. He will bring the ball to the top of the key. Right-hand dribble. Looks and tries to move to his right. Bounce pass to Jim Kesenick. Kesenick out in front to Wyan. Brings it on the left wing to Brad Knoll. Knoll will dribble. Gets it over to Wyan. Wyan puts it up for 3. Misses. Scramble for the rebound. It's grabbed by Javen Tyndall. Up court to Jamal Williams. Williams into the forecourt. Williams will drive right. Puts up the shot. It doesn't go. Williams comes down with a rebound. Puts it up. And a foul out. A foul on the floor. And the foul's on number 24, Brad Knoll, who just came into the ballgame a moment ago. His first, and that's a second team foul on IPFW. It'll be the Lobos ball inbounds. Jeff Hart to put it in play for New Mexico. Lobos set up a box. Hart looking. Now gets it into Ruben Douglas. Douglas picks it up, takes the 3, doesn't go, and down with a rebound is Terry Collins. Collins out quickly to Brad Knoll. Knoll top of the key over to Collins. Collins will put it up from long range. Rings the rim, no good. Down with a rebound, David Quixote. Fed up court to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall into the forecourt quickly. Top of the key. Brings it to Jeff Hart on the right wing. Bounce pass down right corner to Ruben Douglas. Douglas trying to drive the baseline. Is cut off. Feeds it back out in front to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall, left-handed pass to Jeff Hart. Down inside to Jamal Williams. Williams turns and looks. Gets it to Jeff Hart. Over on the right side, Javen Tyndall puts it up. Rings the rim, no good. Down with a rebound, Rick Wyan. Wyan feeds it out quickly to Brad Knoll. Knoll brings it into the forecourt on the right wing. Gets it out in front to Rick Wyan. Wyan trying to move move in out to Knoll. Knoll guarded by Jeff Hart. Knoll starts to drive. Gets it into Jim Kesenick. Kesenick will feed the ball back out to Terry Collins. Collins throws it inside to Wyan. Wyan puts it on the floor. Turns. Takes the jumper. Doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound. And the foul is going to be called on Rick Wyan going over the back. Rick Wyan going over the back. That's his second personal foul. 13th foul on IPFW. Chad Bell checks into the ball game, replacing David Quixote. Mark Walters comes in, replacing Jamal Williams. Coming in now for IPFW is Brandon Jennings, a 6'6 freshman. And also coming into the ball game is David Simon, a 6'9 sophomore out of Vernon Hills, Illinois. And number 5, Quentin Carruthers in for IPFW. Javen Tyndall brings the ball into the forecourt, works at the top of the key, moves to his left, now reverses out to Jeff Hart. Hart gets it to Reuben Douglas on the right wing. Douglas tries to drive inside, forces the shot, rings the rim, no good. Down with the rebound, Brandon Jennings. Fed out quickly to Brad Knoll. Knoll into the forecourt, cross-court pass to Brandon Jennings. Jennings will get it over on the right wing to Tyler Clevenger. Back to Brad Knoll. Down right side to Brandon Jennings. Bounces it inside to David Simon. Simon turns, trying to move on Chad Bell. And a foul called on Chad Bell using the knee. Chad Bell picks up personal foul number 1. That's the 13th foul on New Mexico. Lobos lead 11-4, 13-12 left to play in the first half. Brad Knoll to put the ball in play for IPFW. Looking, feeds it way out in front to Tyler Clevenger, a 6'3 freshman out of Winchester, Indiana. Looks, gets the ball out to Brad Knoll. Knoll cross-court pass to Carruthers. Carruthers on the left wing. 6'4 freshman out of Flint, Michigan. Back over to Knoll. Gets the ball out to Tyler Clevenger. Goes left side to Quentin Carruthers. Back out to Clevenger on the right wing to Brad Knoll. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Knoll will feed it over to Clevenger. Clevenger drives inside, puts up the shot, and down with the rebound and putting it up and in is Brandon Jennings, a 6'6 freshman out of Canal, Winchester, Ohio. That's his first 2 points, and that's the first field goal of the ball game for IPFW. Lobos lead 11-6. Javen Tyndall with the ball on the right wing. Tries to drive, feeds it on the right side to Jeff Hart, puts it up for 3, doesn't go. Down with the rebound is David Simon. Simon gets it in the hands of Brad Knoll. The Lobos have gone cold all of a sudden. Knoll with the ball on the left wing. Knoll with a left-hand dribble. Now gets it out in front. Gets it out to Quentin Carruthers. Back to Brad Knoll. Lobbed inside to David Simon. Simon goes back to Knoll. Knoll for the three-point shot is good. David Knoll hits from the corner, or check it, Brad Knoll hits from the corner, his first 3 points. 11-9, the Lobo lead has been cut to 2. They led 5-0, they led 11-4. 5-0 run now for IPFW. Ball inside to Mark Walters. Walters spins on the baseline, and a foul is going to be called underneath on IPFW. And a foul is on Brandon Jennings, the 6'6 freshman. That's his first. That is a 14th foul on IPFW, and there is a timeout. So there's timeout on the court with 11:53 left to play in the first half. New Mexico
over IPFW, 1 assist and 3 turnovers. Leading scorer for New Mexico remains Jeff Hart with 6 points.
Ryan Icecraft checks into the ball game for Jeff Hart now. So it's Ryan Icecraft, Javen Tyndall, Chad Bell, Jamal Williams, and Mark Walters. Ryan Icecraft setting up the out-of-bounds play for New Mexico. Lobs it into Jamal Williams. Williams puts the ball on the floor for the Lobos. Tries to drive right. Gets it over to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will bounce it inside. Chad Bell. Bell turns. Puts it up. Scores, and he's fouled. Chad Bell with a good left hand. And the foul's on number 55, David Simon, the 6'9 sophomore out of Vernon Hills, Illinois. That is his first, and that is the 15th foul on IPFW. And Chad Bell will go to the free line for New Mexico. 2 points in the ball game for Chad Bell. Bell, a 70% free throw shooter on the year, 7 out of 10 this season. So Chad Bell at the free throw line. Free throw on the way. Good. 14-9. The Lobos lead by 5. Bringing the ball up court will be Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger, a 6'3 freshman. On the right wing to Brad Knoll. Knoll back to Clevenger. Clevenger, guarded by Ryan Icecraft, will come to his left. Now switches to the right hand, dribbles across the top of the key, reverses to Brad Knoll, and the foul is going to be called underneath on Chad Bell. Chad Bell picks up his second personal foul, and that is the 14th foul on New Mexico. To put it in play will be Tyler Clevenger, the 6'3 freshman. Clevenger at the baseline south end, gets it into Brad Knoll. Knoll on the right wing, feeds it out to Simon. Simon will look, puts it on the floor, now gets it out to Clevenger. Top of the key, Clevenger directing traffic, gets it over to Knoll. Down on the right wing to Brandon Jennings. Back out to Knoll, brings it left side Clevenger. Bounced inside to Simon, and a foul, a reach-in foul on New Mexico. And the foul is on Mark Walters. That's his first. That is the 15th foul on New Mexico. 14-9 the score. Lobos lead by 5, 11-10 left to play in the first half. Tyler Clevenger to put the ball in play. Slaps the ball, setting up the out-of-bounds play. Whips it way out to Brad Knoll. Knoll puts it on the floor, guarded by Javen Tyndall. Goes down in the right corner to Brandon Jennings. Jennings dribbles with it, gets it out to Clevenger. Top of the key on the left side now to Quentin Carruthers. Out in front to Brad Knoll. Knoll with the dribble. Left-hand dribbles down the left wing, guarded by Ryan Ishcraft. Feeds the ball out in front to Clevenger. Clevenger looking inside, goes to Knoll, trying to drive the baseline. Goes inside to David Simon. Simon backing into Chad Bell, puts it up and in off the glass. First 2 points for David Simon, and it's 14-11. The Lobo lead is 3. Jamal Williams into Javen Tyndall. Tyndall brings it into the forecourt for New Mexico. Dribbles with it, gets it out to Mark Walters on the left wing. Walters trying to drive, is cut off, and looks, feeds it out to Ryan Ishcraft. Ishcraft almost lost it. Ishcraft gets it down to Chad Bell. Bell on the right wing will pick up his dribble. And looks, gets it to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall drives the baseline, feeds it underneath to Jamal Williams, puts it up, and a foul called underneath. And the foul will be on number 30, Tyler Clevenger. And on Clevenger, that's number 1. That's a 16th foul on IPFW. 10:15 left to play in the first half. 14-11, Lobos lead. Jamal Williams will go to the free throw line for New Mexico. Williams at the free throw line for the first time tonight. He has 2 points in the ball game. He hit the first field goal. He's only hitting 32% of his free throws. 6 out of 19. Has the free throw on the way, and it's off the back of the iron. Substitutions coming in. David Quixote and Ruben Douglas check in for New Mexico. Mark Walters and Chad Bell go out. King comes back in for IPFW along with D'Angelo Woodall. So Jeremy King and D'Angelo Woodall back into the ball game for IPFW. Jamal Williams at the free throw line to shoot a second free throw. 0 of 1 tonight. Free throw on the way, and it's no good. And down with a rebound for IPFW is Jeremy King. Gets the ball in the hands of Woodall. Woodall will bring it top of the key over to Brad Knoll. Knoll drives down right side out to Brandon Jennings. Jennings trying to work inside. Gets the ball back out to Jeremy King. King goes right back to Brandon Jennings. Out to Jeremy King, top of the key. King looks, comes to Woodall. Goes down left side, Brad Knoll. Knoll will go inside to Dave Simon. Simon will move inside. Right-handed hook doesn't go. And David Quixote comes down with a rebound. Gets it in the hands of Javen Tyndall. Tyndall brings the ball up court quickly. Goes inside to Jamal Williams. Lost the ball. And now picking it up is Ryan Ishcraft out to Javen Tyndall. 22 seconds on the shot clock. Tyndall will get it to Ryan Ishcraft on the left wing. Ishcraft drives to the top of the key to Ruben Douglas on the right wing. Down to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall goes inside. Looks, bounces inside. David Quixote puts it up and misses. And down with a rebound. Quickly is D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall gets it into the forecourt. Woodall top of the key. Picks it up. Takes the shot. Doesn't go. And a scramble for the rebound and a foul underneath. And the foul is on David Simon. That's his second. That's the 17th foul on IPFW. Coming back into the ball game is Terry Collins along with Jim Kesenick for the IPFW Macedons. Going to the free throw line is David Quixote. Quixote has not scored in tonight's ball game. And Quixote on the year is 2 of 4 from the free throw line. 50% free throw shooter. So Quixote at the free throw line, ready to put up the free throw on the way, and it's no good. Rebound is Jim Kesenick, and the Lobos have missed 3 free throws in a row, and the ball is off the hands of Brandon Jennings and out of bounds on the ball feed down court. It'll be the Lobos ball in. New Mexico now is 0 of their last 3 from the free throw line. Jeff Hart will check into the ball game, replacing David Quixote in the lineup for New Mexico. And checking in for IPFW is Terry Collins, the 6-foot sophomore. Javen Tyndall will bring the ball up court for New Mexico. Tyndall brings it down on the far side. Pass to Jeff Hart, down right side, Ryan Ishcraft. Ishcraft will look, and now puts it on the floor. Will drive across top of the key to Jeff Hart. Hart brings it back right, goes to Ruben Douglas. Douglas on the right wing, kicks it off to the right side. Ryan Ishcraft out to Douglas, puts it up for 3. It's good. Ruben Douglas with his first 3 points of the night. 17-11, Lobos lead. Brad Knoll into the forecourt. Brad Knoll passes to Brandon Jennings. Jennings with the ball high above his head. Will pass it down on the left side to Terry Collins. Collins puts it up for a long 3. Doesn't go. Jamal Williams with a rebound. Jamal Williams hustles the ball up court, gets it to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will pick it up, takes the three. He hits the three from the left wing. 6 points for Javen Tyndall, and the Lobos take a 20-11 lead, and IPFW is calling a timeout. It is a 30-second timeout or 20-second timeout with 8:22 left to play in the first half. And Joe, Lobos are hitting those three-point shots tonight for IPFW. It's Jim Kessenich along with Jeremy King, Terry Collins, Brad Knoll, and into the ball game now for IPFW, Kyle Thrasher for the first time tonight. Ball to King to Knoll, top of the key. Knoll dribbles to his left. Now brings the ball back out in front. Goes on the right wing to Terry Collins. Collins looking inside. Puts the ball on the floor. Guarded by Jeff Hart. Gets it out to Jeremy King on the left wing. King looking inside. Goes back over to Collins on the right wing. Collins wanting to go inside. Gets it to King. King will dribble to his right. Leaves it for Collins, who will bring it to the top of the key. Bounces the ball inside to Kissenrick. Puts it up. Doesn't go. Down with the rebound. Ryan Ashcraft fed out quickly to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall goes to Reuben Douglas. Douglas lost it momentarily. Now baseline jumper goes. Reuben Douglas off balance, but got it to fall. He has 5 points. 22-11. Lobos lead. Brad Knoll into the forecourt. Dribbles down on the right wing. Leaves it for Terry Collins. Collins brings it to the top of the key. Gets it over to Jeremy King. King on the left wing. Gets the screen. Goes right back to Collins on the left wing. Collins looking inside, gets it out to Jeremy King. King top of the key, moves to his right with a right-hand dribble, leaves it to Brad Knoll. Knoll trying to go inside, passes back out to King. King shakes his head, trying to get it inside, goes to Terry Collins. Collins cut off. Ball stolen away by Ryan Ashcraft. Ashcraft will leave it for Reuben Douglas. Douglas puts it up for three. Doesn't go. Down with a rebound, Terry Collins. Collins hustles it down court for IPFW. Looks, goes on the left side, Brad Knoll. Knoll will put the ball out in front with a right-hand dribble. Knoll will move to his right, leaves the ball for Jeremy King, who brings it back to his left. Left-hand dribble across the top of the key, leaves it for Collins. Collins trying to drive on Javen Tyndall, cut off. Collins will drive to his left, go baseline, cut off there, and the pass is intercepted by Jamal Williams. Williams bounces it to Tyndall. Tyndall hustles it up court for New Mexico, brings it top of the key, and now he's going to be called for carrying the ball. And there is a timeout. So there's timeout on the court. 6:38 left to play in the first half. New Mexico 22. IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne.
Leading scorers in the game, Jeff Hart and Reuben Douglas each have 6 points for New Mexico. Jeff Hart and Javen Tyndall both have 6 points for New Mexico. Total rebounds, IPFW with 13, New Mexico with 11. David Quixote has 4 rebounds.
All right, 6:37 left to play in the first half. Where the ball is Woodall, gets it out to Brad Knoll. Knoll top of the key. Started by Javen Tyndall. Gets the ball over on the right side. Woodall kicks it back out to Knoll. Knoll on the right wing. Has it on the floor. Gets it out to Quentin Carruthers, who's back in the ball game. Carruthers over to Woodall. Woodall trying to move on Jeff Hart. Gets the ball out to Brad Knoll. Puts it up for three. Doesn't go. Down with a rebound, Jamal Williams. Williams hustle the ball down court for New Mexico. Feeds it on the right side, Javen Tyndall. Baseline jumper doesn't go. And down with a rebound is Rick Wyan. Wyan, the 6'7" sophomore, gets in the hands of Brad Knoll. Knoll cross-court pass on the right wing to Woodall. Down in the right corner now to Kyle Thrasher. Back out to Brad Knoll at the top of the key. Knoll will go on the right wing to D'Angelo Woodall. Out in front to Quentin Carruthers. Carruthers back to Woodall, right wing. Woodall puts the ball on the floor with a left-hand dribble, dribbles across the top of the key, reverses to Brad Knoll. Knoll on the right wing, gets it out in front to Carruthers. Carruthers back over to Knoll. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Knoll will get it down in the corner to Wyan. Wyan will put up the jumper. Doesn't go, and the rebound. Scramble for it. Javen Tyndall had it momentarily. Tyndall will look, rolls it up court to Jeff Hart. Hart will bring it on the right wing for New Mexico. Passes over to Reuben Douglas. Douglas goes on the corner to Ryan Ashcraft. Goes in, puts up the 15-footer. It's short. Reuben Douglas hustles after the ball, can't get it. It goes out of bounds. It will be IPFW's ball inbounds. Mark Walters checks into the ball game, replacing Javen Tyndall. Coming into the ball game now for IPFW is David Simon. He comes in. Now Michael Monette checks into the ball game for New Mexico, replacing Jamal Williams. Terry Collins comes back into the ball game for IPFW. Comes in replacing Quentin Carruthers. Ball will be inbounded by Rick Wyan. Gets it in to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring it into the forecourt for IPFW over to Terry Collins. Out in front to Brad Knoll. Knoll puts it on the floor. Back to Collins. Collins dribbles with it on the left wing. Guarded by Ryan Ashcraft. Will lob the ball inside to David Simon. Simon guarded by Mike Monette. Simon backs in, and a foul is going to be called on Michael Monette. And the foul on Michael Monette, that's his first. And David Quixote checks into the ball game, and Michael Monette sits down. Well, he doesn't sit down. He goes over and starts talking to Richie McKay. Coach McKay talking to him. down at the end of the bench. D'Angelo Woodall to put the ball in play for IPFW. Bounces it in to Rick Wyan. Wyan, the 6'7" forward, passes out in front to Terry Collins. Collins looks, goes left to Brad Knoll. Knoll tries to drive baseline, leans in, puts up the shot. It doesn't go, and the ball is tipped up and in by David Simon. Simon with 4 points down. It's 22-13 in favor of New Mexico. Ruben Douglas brings it into the forecourt for the Lobos. Picks up his dribble. Cross-court pass to Mark Walters. Walters started to drive. Cut off. Goes to Ruben Douglas. Douglas down on the right wing to Jeff Hart. Goes inside. David Quixote. Quixote backing into Simon. Right-handed hook doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound, and the foul is going to be called on David Quixote going over the back. So Quixote picks up personal foul number 1. That is the 7th team foul on New Mexico. 1-on-1 situation for IPFW, and they've been very much better from the free throw line than New Mexico. IPFW yet to miss a free throw. New Mexico's made only 1 of 4. Now Michael Monette checks into the ball game, replacing Ryan Ashcraft in the lineup. So the Lobos have 2 walk-ons out on the floor, Jeff Hart and Michael Monette. They have 3 freshmen, David Quixote, Michael Monette, and Jeff Hart, and a redshirt freshman, Mark Walters. 4 points in the ball game, and the free throw is missed, and David Quixote comes down with a rebound. Gets in the hands of Ruben Douglas. 22-13 score. Lobos lead. 4:24 to play in the first half. Ball out to Jeff Hart. Hart will get it over to Mark Walters. Walters drives in, pulls up, takes the jumper, scores. Mark Walters gets the bucket, his first 2 points of the night. 24-13 Lobos. Ball over to Terry Collins. Collins puts up the jumper off the side, and the rebound goes to Mark Walters. Fed up court to Ruben Douglas. Douglas into the forecourt far side. Dribbles on the left wing, looks, gets it to David Quixote. Quixote back over to Mark Walters on the right wing. Walters starts the drive, goes inside, puts it up, scores off the glass. Mark Walters gets the ball to fall. He has 4 points. 26-13. Lobos lead. 3:51 left to play in the first half. Rick Wyan on the right wing to Terry Collins. Terry Collins out to Woodall. Back over to Brad Knoll on the left wing. Lobbed inside to David Simon. Simon goes to Quixote. Simon will pass the ball out to D'Angelo Woodall. Bounce back inside to Simon. Simon left of the lane, backing into Quixote. Feeds the ball out to Wyan. Wide open for a 3. Off the back of the iron, and a foul is going to be called underneath on Terry Collins, pushing Mark Walters in the back. That's the first personal foul on Terry Collins, and that is the 18th foul on IPFW. Getting ready to come back in the ball game, Tyler Clevenger, along with Brandon Jennings for IPFW. Brad Knoll and Rick Wyan will sit down. Going to the free throw line will be Mark Walters. He has 4 points in the ball game. Has not been to the free throw line till this moment. And Mark Walters on the year is a 69% free throw shooter, 9 out of 13. Shooting 1-and-1, hits the front end of the 1-and-1. 27-13, Lobos lead. 3:30 to play in the first half. And going to the free throw line, Mark Walters will shoot a second free throw. He now has 5 points in the game. Walters ready, has a free throw on the way. It's good. And there is a timeout. Lobos lead. There's a timeout on the floor. 3:30 to play in the first half. New Mexico 28, IPFW 13%
in the game.
All right, the ball will be inbounded by Brandon Jennings. Gets the ball into D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will dribble at the top of the key. Woodall will go on the high post to David Simon. Simon, the 6'9" sophomore, turns, goes on the right wing now to Woodall. Woodall looking, gets it out in front to Clevenger. Clevenger drives inside, gets it back over on the left side, and the 3 is good by Terry Collins. Collins hits from the left wing, his first 3 points of the night, and it's 28-16, Lobos lead. Ruben Douglas brings the ball into the forecourt for New Mexico, goes to Jeff Hart. Hart puts it on the floor, passes over to Mark Walters. Walters will look. Now can't find anybody. Just hands it over to Ruben Douglas. Douglas almost double teamed. Holds onto the ball momentarily. Now starts to drive. Picks it up. Takes the jumper off the back of the iron. And down with the rebound is D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will bring it into the forecourt. Woodall tries to drive inside. Goes into Jeff Hart. Has the shot blocked. And the ball goes inside. David Quixote with the steal. Gets it over to Ruben Douglas. Bounce down to Mark Walters. Walters picks it up. Takes the 3. It's good. Mark Walters from the right wing. Mark Walters with 9 points. 31-16 Lobos. Woodall with the ball for IPFW. Woodall at the top of the key. Goes on the right wing to Brandon Jennings. Jennings with the ball down on the right wing to Clevenger. Goes inside to David Simon. Backing into Quixote. Backs into Quixote. Now looks. Can't find anybody. Lobs it out. Gets it out to Clevenger. Puts it up. Doesn't go. Down with a rebound. Quixote. Quixote over to Mark Walters. Walters brings it on the right wing for New Mexico. Starts to drive inside. Picks it up. Takes the 15-footer. It doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound. Down with it Ruben Douglas. Douglas puts it up left-handed. It won't go. Douglas comes down with it again but loses it out of bounds. So with a minute 55 left to play in the first half. Lobos lead 31-16. Jamal Williams checks into the ball game for New Mexico. Comes in replacing Michael Monette. To put the ball in play will be Brandon Jennings. Jennings gets it in. D'Angelo Woodall for IPFW. Woodall on the right wing to Brandon Jennings. Jennings goes down right side to Tyler Clevenger. Gets it back out to Terry Collins. Collins drives inside, hangs in the air, puts it up short. The rebound goes to Jamal Williams. Loses the ball, and up with it and scoring is Brandon Jennings. So Jennings gets the rebound bucket. He has 4 points. 31-18, Lobos lead. Minute 32 left to play in the first half. Reuben Douglas gets the ball across the timeline at center court with the right-hand dribble. Looks down on the right side, starts to drive right, goes inside. Jeff Hart puts it up with a reverse layup. Jeff Hart with 8 points in the game. 33-18. Terry Collins drives down court, puts it up, it goes. Terry Collins gets the ball to fall into Reuben Douglas. Terry Collins with 5 points. 33-20, Lobos lead. A minute 9 left to play in the first half. Reuben Douglas getting the screen from David Quixote. Lost the ball, but up with a Jeff Hart. Over to Mark Walters. Walters puts it up for 3. Good. Walters from the left wing. Mark Walters with 12 points. 36-20, Lobos. With the ball, Woodall. Woodall will drive right. Kicks the ball out to Brandon Jennings. Jennings cut off. Gets the ball over to Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger driving inside. Clevenger will look. Gets the ball out to Brandon Jennings. Over to Collins. Puts it up for 3. Doesn't go. Down with a rebound. Underneath is Jennings. It's been rejected by Quixote. Fed down court to Jamal Williams. Goes in. Puts it up. He scores. He's fouled. 38-20, Lobos lead. The foul is on Terry Collins. That's number 2 on Collins. That is a 19th foul on IPFW in this half. Going to the free throw line will be Jamal Williams for New Mexico. 0 of 2 from the free throw line. He has 4 points in the game. So Jamal Williams, a 32% free throw shooter on the year, at the free throw line, is ready. Jamal Williams bounces the ball at the free throw line. 37 seconds left to play in the first half. Free throw on the way, and it'll go. So Jamal Williams with a 3-point play. Michael Monette checks into the ball game, replacing Jamal Williams. 39-20, Lobos lead. And now, coming into the ball game for New Mexico is Michael McCowan. He checks in, replacing David Quixote. So Michael McCowan, the 6'7" sophomore out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, into the game for the Lobos. Bringing the ball up court, D'Angelo Woodall for IPFW. On the right wing now to Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger trying to drive on Reuben Douglas. Gets the ball over to Clinton Carruthers. Out in front to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall works with it out near the center circle. Takes a look at the clock. There's 17 seconds in the first half. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Still dribbles with it out near the center circle. D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall trying to drive on Ryan Icecraft. Will drive left. Goes inside. Hangs in the air. Puts it up. Doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound, and putting it up and in is Jim Kesenick. Kesenick with his first 2 points. With 7/10 of a second left in the first half, and the Lobos leading 39-22. Jeff Hart will come back into the ball game for New Mexico. So 7/10 of a second left in the first half. Not much you can do now, Joe.
No, it's one of those timeouts that if you don't use it, you lose it anyway. And I guess Coach McKay figured no matter what happens.
Half. Lobos lead 39-22. It will be Ryan Icecraft to put the ball in play for New Mexico. Icecraft sets up. Looks. Walters to Reuben Douglas. Douglas puts it up at the... Oh, and it just glanced off the backboard. It looked like when it left his hand, it had a pretty good shot.
It did.
But it was a little high off the backboard, and that is the end of the first half. At the end of the first half, it is New Mexico 39, Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne, IPFW 22. This Terry Collins, Jeremy King, Rick Wyan, and Jim Kesenick. For New Mexico, it'll be David Quixote, Mark Walters, Reuben Douglas, Jeff Hart, and Jamal Williams. So the 10 players who started the ball game will start the second half. It'll be the Lobos ball inbounds. New Mexico leading 39-22. Mark Walters inbounds to Jeff Hart. And the freshman from Sandia High brings it across the timeline at center court. Bounce to David Quixote on the high post, and he loses the ball out of bounds.
Only the fourth turnover for New Mexico, though, in the game.
Rick Wyan gets the ball inbounds to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall Gets it way out in front to Jim Kesenick. Over to Wyan. Over on the left wing for IPFW. That is Woodall. Goes inside to Kesenick. Trying to move on David Quixote. Gets it out to Jeremy King. Top of the key. Over to Wyan. Wyan cut off in the corner. Almost lost the ball. Gets it over cross-court pass to Collins. Collins drives in and a blocking foul called on Mark Walters. So Mark Walters picks up a second personal foul. That's the first team foul here in the second half. And it will be IPFW's ball in bounds. 35 seconds on the shot clock. And to put it in play will be Woodall. Woodall looking, bounces the ball inside, and he is fouled from behind. And the foul is on Jamal Williams, and that's 2 on Jamal Williams. And that's the second team foul on New Mexico, and we haven't even played a minute in the second half. We played 35 seconds to be exact. Going to the free throw line will be Jim Kesenick. He has 2 points in the game. Comes in averaging better than 15. Free throw on the way, good. And IPFW scores the first point of the second half. 39-23, New Mexico leads. Kesenick now with 3 points in the game at the free throw line to shoot his second free throw. And he makes it. And it's 39-24, Lobos lead. Mark Walters puts the ball in play to Jeff Hart. Hart working the ball up court for New Mexico. Left-hand dribble, gets it across the timeline, switches to the right hand at the top of the key. Looks to his left, goes to Jamal Williams on the right wing. Jamal Williams looking inside, cross-court pass to Jeff Hart, out to David Quixote, to Mark Walters. Walters goes to Reuben Douglas. Down right side, Douglas drives to the baseline, feeds it inside to Quixote, who lays it up and in. David Quixote with his first 2 points. Great feed from Reuben Douglas. Terry Collins over to Woodall. Woodall with a Terry Collins on the right wing. Collins out in front to Jeremy King. King will look, lobs it over to Collins, and the ball goes out of bounds. And nobody saw it. The officials say, I didn't see it. So it's New Mexico's ball in. If you don't see it, it's New Mexico's ball in, Joe?
Well, I think they made the correct call because nobody did touch it, but neither official saw it. There's 2 standing there.
Reuben Douglas will bring the ball up court now for New Mexico. Gets it across the timeline. Dribbles to the top of the key. Tries to drive inside. Cut off by Jeremy King. Will drive to his right. Picks it up. Takes the 3. Scores! Right wing 3-pointer for Reuben Douglas. 8 points for Reuben Douglas. 44-24 Lobos. Woodall with the ball. On the left wing to Jeremy King. Lobbed inside to Jim Kesenick. Kesenick will feed it out to Woodall. Woodall cut off by Jeff Hart. Bounced down in the right corner to Wyan. He puts it up for 3. It doesn't go. Quixote with a rebound. Gets it out to Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams will drive in. Goes to Jeff Hart. Baseline jumper. Good. A 3 for Jeff Hart. Great feed by Jamal Williams. Jeff Hart now with 11 points. A career high. With the ball is Woodall. Woodall with the ball at the top of the key. 18 minutes to play in the game. Woodall on the left wing to Jeremy King. Jeremy King looks, and Jamal Williams backs off of him. Jeremy King picks up his dribble. Ball stolen away by Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is fouled by Jeremy King. That's a frustration foul, Joe.
Yes, it was. And Jamal doing a great job of anticipating some passes. In the first half, Jamal had a steal, and now he's got one here in the second half.
A first personal foul on Jeremy King. First team foul on IPFW this half. Ball is lobbed in. Stolen away by Jeremy King. King lays it up and in. So Jeremy King gets the bucket on the steal. First 2 points. Ball into David Quixote. Quixote will leave it for Reuben Douglas. Douglas with the ball in the backcourt. Douglas will right hand across the timeline, guarded by Jeremy King. Douglas spins on King, comes down on the left wing. Now starts to dribble across the top of the key, and a reach-in foul on Jeremy King. So King picks up his second personal foul in about 20 seconds, and that's the second team foul on IPFW this half. 47-26, New Mexico leads. Mark Walters to put the ball in play. Far sideline in the forecourt. Gets it into Reuben Douglas out near the 10-second line. Reuben Douglas will bounce it to Jamal Williams on the right wing. Jamal Williams looks, drives on Wyan, goes inside, off the glass and scoring. Jamal Williams now with 7 points in the game. 49-26 New Mexico. D'Angelo Woodall with the ball at the top of the key. On the left wing to Jeremy King. King gets the ball out in front to Terry Collins on the right wing, and a foul is going to be called on Wyan, a moving screen. So Wyan picks up personal foul number 3, third team foul on IPFW here in the second half, and we have not played 3 minutes yet. Ball fed in to Mark Walters. Walters puts the ball on the floor. Guarded by Terry Collins of IPFW. Walters with a left-hand dribble, comes down the left wing, hands it over to Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams drives inside, off the glass, scores again. Jamal Williams with 9 points. Ball quickly into D'Angelo Woodall. Goes right side, Terry Collins. Collins drives inside, puts up the shot. It doesn't go, and a foul called underneath. And the foul's going to be on Jeff Hart. And on Hart, that's number 1. That's a 13 foul on New Mexico this half. And each team has 3 team fouls already in the second half, and there's 16:46 left to play. Terry Collins at the free throw line for the first time tonight. He has 5 points in the ball game. Collins, 60% free throw shooter, 12 out of 20. And the free throw is good. He gets the front of the 2-shot foul. Brandon Jennings, along with David Simon, checking into the ball game. Coming out will be Rick Wyan and Jim Kesenick. Terry Collins at the free throw line. He has 6 points in the game, ready to shoot a second free throw. Has it on the way, and it's good. 51-28, New Mexico leads. Jamal Williams inbounds to Ruben Douglas with 16:43 to play in the game. Ruben Douglas into the forecourt. Cross-court pass to Jamal Williams. Down on the left wing to Mark Walters. Walters puts it on the floor, gets it out to Jeff Hart, over to Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams out to Mark Walters. Walters will drive inside, puts it up left-handed. It doesn't go. Down with a rebound, Brandon Jennings. Jennings has it on the floor. Will bounce past to Terry Collins, who brings it into the forecourt. Collins at the top of the key with a left-hand dribble. Goes on the right wing to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall back over on the right wing to Brandon Jennings. Jennings looking inside, out to Woodall. Goes inside to David Simon. Simon looks, has the ball knocked away, and a foul is going to be called on Ruben Douglas. So Ruben Douglas picks up the personal foul, his second, and that is the 4th team foul on New Mexico already in this half. I wonder if they got together at halftime and said, we're not blowing enough whistles. 7 fouls already with 3 minutes and 50 seconds gone. David Simon, 0 of 1 from the free throw line with 4 points in the game. Simon's free throw is no good. Coming into the ball game will be Javen Tyndall, comes in replacing Mark Walters in the lineup for the Lobos. David Simon up there to shoot a second free throw. 51-28 New Mexico. Simon ready. Free throw on the way, and this one's off the back of the iron. Rebound, David Quixote. Quixote will get it over to Ruben Douglas. Douglas will pound into the forecourt with a right-hand dribble. Takes a look around, goes to Quixote on the high post. Quixote looks left, goes back right to Ruben Douglas. Douglas drives inside, has the ball deflected. Jeremy King up with it over to Terry Collins. Collins pulls up, takes the 15-footer, doesn't go. Rebound, David Quixote gets the ball to Ruben Douglas. Douglas hustles it down court for New Mexico. 3-on-3. Bounce pass to Jamal Williams. Williams drives into the paint, feeds it over to Jeff Hart. Hart puts it up for 3. It doesn't go, and down with the rebound, Brandon Jennings. Jennings gets it up court quickly to Woodall. Woodall on the right wing for IPFW. Woodall across court to Brandon Jennings on the left wing. Wants to go inside. Instead passes to Jeremy King, top of the key. On the right wing to Terry Collins. Collins goes inside, puts up the shot. It doesn't go, and the ball is tipped up and in by David Simon. So David Simon gets a tip in. He has 6 points, and it's 51-30, Lobos lead. Javen Tyndall brings the ball into the forecourt for New Mexico to David Quixote, over to Jeff Hart on the right wing. Hart cross-court pass to Ruben Douglas. Douglas drives inside, puts it up, foul called. And a blocking foul called on David Simon. On Simon, that's number 3, and that is a 4th team foul on IPFW here in the second half. And Ruben Douglas will go to the free throw line for the first time tonight. Douglas has 8 points in the game. 15:05 left to play, 51-30, and Joe O'Neill, New Mexico, was really putting them away, and then all of a sudden IPFW put on a little charge.
Scoring 8 points in the first 2 minutes of the game. Red hot here in the second half. IPFW, it looks like not getting anything going offensively, just trying to dribble penetrate to create something.
Ruben Douglas hits the first free throw, hits the second free throw, and there is a timeout. So there's timeout on the court with 15:05 left to play in the game. It is New Mexico 53, IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne.
Look at the West three-pointers. New Mexico's hit 9 of them. That's 53 for the season. Bank of the West will donate $10 to Special Olympics New Mexico for every three-pointer the Lobos hit this season. Leading scorer for New Mexico, Mark Walters, with 12. Leading rebounder is David Quixote, making his first start. He's got 9 rebounds in the game.
15:05 left to play in the game. Javen Tyndall, Jeff Hart, Jamal Williams, Ruben Douglas, Chad Bell for New Mexico. David Simon along with Terry Collins, Jeremy King, Brandon Jennings, and D'Angelo Woodall for IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. Bringing the ball up court will be D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall works with it. Jamal Williams after him. Ball over on the right wing. Back out to Woodall. Woodall trying to penetrate. Goes inside. Loses the ball. Jamal Williams had it for a moment. Taken away by Terry Collins. Collins goes down. Passes the ball out to Jeremy King. Says, let's slow it down. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Jeremy King will back away from Reuben Douglas. Drives inside. And the foul is going to be called on Reuben Douglas. That's the third personal foul on Reuben Douglas. Comes with 14:39 left to play in the game. Number 3 on Douglas, 15 foul on New Mexico. Reuben Douglas will sit down. Mark Walters comes in to replace him. Putting the ball in play will be Brandon Jennings. Gets it in to D'Angelo Woodall. D'Angelo Woodall just holds on to the ball. Now puts it on the floor. Dribbles on the left. Gets it out to Terry Collins. Top of the key. Got it by Javen Tyndall. Collins will get it over to Jeremy King. King cut off. Goes back to Collins. Puts it up for 3. Doesn't go. And a scramble for the rebound. And it goes out of bounds off the hands of New Mexico as both Jamal Williams and Jeff King were fighting for the rebound. That's just good hustle.
Yeah.
Where the ball goes to the wrong guys.
Right.
So to put it in play will be D'Angelo Woodall. D'Angelo Woodall looking inside. Can't find anybody. Now lobs it out. Tipped away by Jeff Hart. Hart chasing it. Terry Collins comes up with it in the backcourt. Collins will bring it across the timeline for IPFW at the top of the key. Passes on the right wing to Jeremy King. Lobbed underneath. Gets it to Brandon Jennings. Jennings trying to drive. Back out to Jeremy King. King going inside. Has the ball knocked away. Scramble for it. King up with it. King looking. On the right wing, goes inside to Collins. Collins looks, puts it up, scores. Collins underneath for IPFW, 53-32. 9 points now for Terry Collins. Javen Tyndall with the ball on the left wing, guarded by D'Angelo Woodall. Tyndall will bring it top of the key, picks up the dribble, goes to Chad Bell, who loses the ball. Bell loses it, and up with it is D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall puts it up, misses. He's fouled by Javen Tyndall. The foul is on Javen Tyndall, his first, and that's a 16th foul on New Mexico this half. Going to the free throw line for IPFW will be D'Angelo Woodall. He's 2 of 2 from the free throw line with 2 points in the game. So D'Angelo Woodall at the free throw line. Free throw on the way, good. Now coming into the ball game will be Brad Knowles, son of the coach, replacing Terry Collins. Ryan Ashcraft coming into the game, forgot to take off his warm-up jacket. He comes in and hands it to Jamal Williams. Williams doing double duty tonight as an equipment man also. Woodall puts up the free throw, and it's good. So Woodall now will go out of the game, and in to replace him is Quentin Carruthers. Or check it, that is Tyler Clevenger. Ball inbounded to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall waves everybody away, bringing the ball up court against Tyler Clevenger of IPFW. Bounce down to Ryan Ashcraft. Ashcraft on the left wing, out to Mark Walters. Walters started in, kicks it back out to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will move Ryan Ashcraft away. Tyndall goes down on the left side, looks, and puts it up and in. Javen Tyndall looked like he was going to pass and said shot. He has 8 points. 55-34 to Mexico. It is Tyler Clevenger bouncing the ball down to Brad Knoll on the right wing, out in front to Jeremy King. Jeremy King going in on Mark Walters, puts up the jumper. It'll roll and go in. So Jeremy King gets his 3rd and 4th point of the night. Javen Tyndall with the ball on the right wing for New Mexico. Throws it out to Jeff Hart. And I ducked because it looked like it was coming this way to Mark Walters over to Javen Tyndall. Javen Tyndall starts to drive in, picks it up, takes the shot, misses. Scramble for the rebound, down with it David Simon. Simon gets it over to Brad Knoll. Knoll will bring it on the right wing. Knoll picks up the dribble, gets it out to Tyler Clevenger, back over to Brad Knoll. Knoll guarded by Javen Tyndall. Knoll gets it out in front to Clevenger. Clevenger will move to his left with a left-hand dribble. Now picks it up, gets it to Knoll, top of the key. Rawl rolled inside to Jeremy King, puts it up, and then he's fouled. Jeremy King with a good move underneath for IPFW, and the foul is on Chad Bell, and on Bell, that's number 3. That is also the 7th team foul on New Mexico this half. And David Quixote, coming into the ball game for New Mexico, comes in replacing Chad Bell in the lineup. And Jeremy King will go to the free throw line to shoot the free throw. First time at the free throw line for Jeremy King, 6 points in the ball game. King bouncing the ball at the free throw line, 55-38, Lobos lead. King ready, free throw on the way, and this will ring out. Ball tipped up again. Down with it, Clevenger goes inside to Simon, loses the ball out of bounds. It'll be New Mexico's ball in. Lobos to put it in play at the north end zone, and Ryan Icecraft inbounds it to Javen Tyndall. 12:22 to play in the game. Tyndall, left-hand dribble, now right hand across the timeline. Out near the center circle, moves to his left, gets the ball over to Jeff Hart, to the baseline, to Mark Walters. Reverse layup by Walters, and Mark Walters with 14 points, a career high. With the ball is Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger gets it inside, stolen away by Walters, fed to Jeff Hart. Hart will lob it up to Walters, who puts it up, won't go. Scramble for the rebound, and pulling it down is Jeremy King. Gets it over to Brad Knoll. Knoll with the ball out near the center circle, now on the right wing. Gets it over to Clevenger. Tyler Clevenger working with it, and the foul is going to be called underneath. And the foul is on Ryan Icecraft, and on Icecraft, that's number 1, and that's the 8th team foul in New Mexico this half. 18 fouls on the Lobos, 4 on IPFW, Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne. 11:49 to play in the game. 57-38, Lobos lead. Going to the free throw line, Brad Knoll. 3 points in the game. First time at the free throw line tonight for Knoll, the 6-foot senior out of Spring Arbor, Michigan. Knoll ready, free throw on the way. It's good. Boy, IPFW, Joe, shoots free throws very well.
Yeah, very nice strokes there at the free throw line.
David Simon will sit down, and coming in to replace him is Jim Kesenick. And Jamal Williams comes in, replacing Ryan Icecraft in the lineup for the Lobos. 11:49 left to play. 57-39 the score. New Mexico leading IPFW. Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne. The Mastodons. Knowles with his second free throw on the way, and it's good. And there is a timeout. So there's timeout on the floor. 11:49 left to play. New Mexico 57, IPFW 40. This is
David Coyote with 9 rebounds.
And you know what, Joe?
What's that?
IPFW, New Mexico have each scored 18 points in the second half.
Yep.
Mark Walters to put the ball in play. Bounces it into Javen Tyndall. Full court pressure being used by IPFW. Tyndall's double team. Looks, gets it over to Mark Walters. Walters across the timeline. Bounce to Jeff Hart. Goes inside, and he's fouled. And the foul is on Brandon Jennings. Jennings, the 6'6 freshman out of Canal, Winchester, Ohio. That's number 2 on him, and the 15 foul on IPFW. So Jeff Hart will go to the free throw line for New Mexico. Up there to shoot 2, and he has a total of 11 points in the game, a career high for him. First time at the free throw line tonight for Hart. Now he has 12. That's ups his career high again. And he's perfect from the free throw line so far this year. He's now 2 of 2. So he's up there getting ready to put up his second free throw in this game. Hits them both. 59-40, Lobos lead. Ball into Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger across the timeline. Goes on the left wing to Jeremy King. King guarded by Mark Walters. King tries to penetrate cutoff. Gets it out to Brad Knoll. Knoll at the top of the key. Bounce pass to Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger will drive down right side. The foul is going to be called on Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings picks up the personal foul. That's his 3rd, and that is the 16th foul now on IPFW. And Coach Doug Knoll, the head coach of IPFW, not happy with that call. Mark Walters to put it in play. Gets it into Jeff Hart. Double team. Bounce to Mark Walters. Walters brings the ball up court for New Mexico as IPFW drops back on defense. Goes to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will bring the ball out near the center circle with 11-12 to play in the game. Tyndall out near the right wing. Fires it over to Jeff Hart. Hart will put it on the floor for New Mexico. Bounces it in. Stolen away. Stolen away. Kesenick. Kesenick gets the ball over to Brad Knoll. Bounce down in the corner to Clevenger. It won't go, and the ball goes out of bounds. David Coyote and Javen Tyndall fighting for the rebound.
The second time that's happened. Hart and Jamal Williams did that earlier, and then that time New Mexico had the rebound, but just both were fighting for it, went out of bounds.
D'Angelo Woodall back into the ball game, replacing Tyler Clevenger in there at guard for New Mexico. Ruben Douglas trying to get in the game for the Lobos, and he'll come in to replace Jeff Hart. Hart with 13 points in this ball game tonight. I'll bet you 5 months ago, Joe, Jeff Hart didn't have any idea he'd be wearing Lobo colors in the pit.
No, probably shooting baskets at Sandia High School now. He's shooting them in the pit.
Well, he's got a place at home where he can shoot.
There you go.
Brad Knoll with the ball at the top of the key on over to Woodall. Back to Knoll. Knoll goes left side. Jeremy King. King driving the baseline. Puts up the shot. A charging foul is going to be called on Jeremy King. Jeremy King on the charge. That's his 3rd, and that is now the 7th team foul on IPFW, and each team now shooting 1-on-1. Mark Walters to put the ball in play. Bounces it into Ruben Douglas. Douglas back over to Mark Walters. Walters hustles it down court, feeds it over on the right side. Jamal Williams goes inside, spins, puts up the jumper, scores. Jamal Williams from 5 feet. Jamal Williams now with 11 points in the game. 61-40 Lobos lead. Woodall cross-court pass to Brandon Jennings. Down left side, Jeremy King. King will look inside. And now passes out to Brad Knoll. Knoll comes right back to Jeremy King on the left wing. King with a dribble. Now puts it up for 3. He hits the long 3. And Mark Walters puts the ball in play to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall with the ball bounces it to David Quixote. Quixote looking out to Mark Walters. Walters on the right wing. IPFW trying to put more pressure on the ball. Mark Walters drives in, hangs in the air, puts it up, scores. And a foul called underneath. And a foul is on Jim Kesenick. That's his first. And that's the 18th foul. Brandon Jennings goes out of the ball game. Back in is Rick Wyan, the 6'7 sophomore. And now Jim Kesenick goes out, and in to replace him is David Simon. Simon, the sophomore, playing a little bit more than is Kesenick, the junior. Because, Joe, the Lobos are doing a great job on Kesenick inside.
Yeah, Kesenick coming into the game averaging 15 points, has not really played that many minutes tonight.
Mark Walters, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, now 3 of 3 as he makes the three-point play. And Ryan Ashcraft comes in to replace Mark Walters. Walters with a career-high 17 points tonight. 64-43 Lobos. D'Angelo Woodall brings it into the forecourt to Jeremy King on the left wing. King will try to bounce it inside. Ball stolen away. Up with it is Quixote. Quixote loses it. Goes out of bounds. It'll be New Mexico's ball in and will off of Jeremy King. Boy, IPFW now putting on the double pressure.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Ashcraft might have jammed his finger when he went down, too, and you'd hate to see that. He's had some bad luck this year when it comes to injuries.
Quentin Carruthers checks into the ball game along with Terry Collins, and Jeff Hart will come into the ball game replacing Ryan Ashcraft. Maybe Richie McKay also saw that.
Yeah, it looks like his finger is really bothering him.
Yeah, looks that way. I heard Coach McKay say, what happened? Ball into Javen Tyndall. Tyndall working with the ball on the backcourt, guarded by D'Angelo Woodall. Gets it over to Jeff Hart. Down right side, Jamal Williams. Inside, Reuben Douglas. Great feed from Jamal Williams. And Reuben Douglas makes the layup. Douglas now with 12 points. Bringing the ball up court. D'Angelo Woodall. Cross-court pass to Quentin Carruthers. Carruthers will go inside to David Simon. Bounced inside. Reverse layup. Doesn't go. Ball knocked away and a foul call. And the foul's going to be on Jamal Williams. That's the 3rd personal foul on Jamal Williams. And the 19th foul on New Mexico. Going to the free throw line will be David Simon, the 6'9 sophomore. He's 0 of 3 from the free throw line with 6 points. Jamal Williams came over to talk to Richie. Can you hear what they're saying?
I think Jamal thought they were in a completely different defense than Coach McKay, and Coach McKay was asking him, what are you doing? And Coach Jamal said, we're in 1, and he said, no, we're not.
So David Simon's at the free throw line. Free throw on the way, and it's no good. Chasing it down is Jeff Hart. Hart with the ball, gets it over to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall works with it in the backcourt, gets it across the timeline for New Mexico. Works on the left wing for the Lobos, gets it to Reuben Douglas. Douglas on the right wing, guarded by Terry Collins. Reuben Douglas out to Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams back over to Reuben Douglas. Douglas on the right wing. Dribbles, now tries to drive, is pushed by Terry Collins. And Reuben Douglas will go to the free throw line. That's the 3rd personal foul on Terry Collins. And the 19th foul on IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. I want to be sure I get it right.
Yeah, I hope you don't have to be home early because there's still 9 minutes to go, and both teams are almost to have 10 team fouls apiece. 18 fouls so far in the first 11 minutes of the second half.
Reuben Douglas, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He misses the front end of the 1-on-1. Dave Simon will get the ball over to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall brings it top of the key on the right wing to Terry Collins. Collins goes down right side. Rick Wyan. Wyan trying to drive, cut off, bounces the ball back out to Carruthers. Carruthers will get the ball over to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall will go to Terry Collins. Collins puts it up for 3, high off the back of the iron. Ball tipped up and a scramble for it. Jamal Williams had it for a moment. Back over to Wyan. Wyan goes in, puts it up, scores off the glass. Rick Wyan gets the bucket. He now has 4 points. Reuben Douglas will hustle the ball down court. And Douglas dribbled the ball out of bounds. It will be IPFW's ball in. To put the ball in play will be Rick Wyan. Wyan floor passes in to D'Angelo Woodall. 8:35 to play in the game. Woodall back over to Wyan. Wyatt on the right wing gets it out in front to Quentin Carruthers. Carruthers goes to Woodall. Passed inside David Simon. Guarded by David Quixote. Simon goes inside, puts up a right-handed hook. It's short. Rebound, Javen Tyndall. Tyndall brings the ball into the forecourt. Bounce to Reuben Douglas. Douglas goes in, lays it up, scores. Great move by Reuben Douglas. He had an extra burst of speed. Reuben Douglas with 14 points. D'Angelo Woodall on the right wing, 68-46 Lobos. Woodall gets it out to Rick Wyatt. He's going to put it up for three off the back of the iron and chased down by Reuben Douglas. Gets it quickly to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will bring the ball into the forecourt, reverses to Reuben Douglas, puts it up for three. Good! Reuben Douglas hits the three on the feed from Javen Tyndall. Douglas with 17 points. Bringing the ball in for IPFW is D'Angelo Woodall, and it is a timeout. And it's a 22nd time. It goes a full timeout. So there's a full timeout on the floor. 7-4. Michael McCowan checks into the ball game for New Mexico. So it's Michael McCowan, Jamal Williams, Jeff Hart, Reuben Douglas, and Javen Tyndall for New Mexico. Putting the ball in play as Carruthers gets it in to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall with the ball top of the key. Woodall dribbles away, goes on the left wing to Quentin Carruthers. Carruthers passes to Terry Collins. Collins trying to go in, passes the ball inside to David Simon. On the right wing to Woodall, goes inside Simon. Simon takes the jumper, doesn't go. Jamal Williams comes down with a rebound and leads the ball down court, loses it. David Simon over to Terry Collins. Collins will drive inside, feeds it underneath. The shot doesn't go, and down with the rebound, Michael McCowan. Gets it to Javen Tyndall, down court, Reuben Douglas, and Douglas is going to be fouled. An intentional foul is being called on Rick Wyatt. So Reuben Douglas will go to the free throw line. 7:15 left to play. That's the fourth personal foul on Rick Wyatt, and the 10th team foul on IPFW, and Reuben Douglas goes to the free throw line. Douglas is 2 of 3 from the free throw line tonight with 17 points in the game. So Reuben Douglas at the free throw line, ready to put up the free throw. Now Reuben Douglas has 18 points, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Michael Monette checks into the ball game, replacing Jamal Williams. And Williams has scored 11 points tonight for New Mexico. Came in averaging 14. Reuben Douglas' next free throw is good. So Reuben Douglas now with 19 points. That's 6 below his average. And it'll be the Lobos ball in bounds. And there is a timeout. So there's timeout on the court. 7:15 left to play. New Mexico 73, IPFW 46.
Rebounded.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of offensive board opportunities if you're shooting that well. Javen Tyndall to put the ball in play for New Mexico. It'll be the Lobos ball in bounds. Baseline at the south end. Lobos lead 73-46. Javen Tyndall to put the ball in play for New Mexico into Michael McCowan. Bounce to Reuben Douglas. Douglas drives inside, kicks it out to Jeff Hart over to Javen Tyndall. Rolled inside to Mike McCowan. Inside Reuben Douglas. Douglas tries to put it up, doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound. Down with it McCowan. McCowan will dribble away. Goes to Reuben Douglas. Loses the ball. Up with it is Quentin Carruthers. Carruthers on the right wing. Will now back away. Gets it out to D'Angelo Woodall. Woodall out near the center circle. Guarded by Reuben Douglas. Woodall works with the ball with a chest-high right-hand dribble. Now starts to move to his left. Javen Tyndall will switch and take off. The ball is up, doesn't go, and Reuben Douglas comes down with it. Douglas leads a 3-on-2. Douglas up, takes the shot, scores. Reuben Douglas hits a 2, and it's 21 points for Reuben Douglas. 75-46 New Mexico. Quentin Carruthers with the ball on the right wing. Gets it out to Rick Wyatt. Wyatt will look inside, gets it over to Simon, and the foul is going to be called underneath on Mike McCowan. And that's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Lobo Basketball Network.
This is the home of Lobo basketball. News Radio 770 KKOB, Albuquerque.
That's the first foul on McCowan, and Simon hits the front end of the two-shot foul because New Mexico and IPFW both are over the limit. Jeremy King checks back into the ball game. Brad Knoll checks into the game for IPFW. Brandon Jennings, Reuben Douglas goes out for New Mexico, and Mark Walters in. 14,430 here tonight for this game. Simon's next free throw on the way. It rings out. Ball tipped up and coming down with the rebound. Mark Walters scoops it to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall with the ball in the backcourt. Gets it across the timeline for New Mexico at center court. Goes to Jeff Hart on the right wing. Hart goes down right side. Michael Monette gets it out on the right side to Mark Walters. Walters goes back to Michael Monette. Monette down right side, drives baseline, tries to feed it inside. The ball knocked away, and it will be New Mexico's ball in. So the Lobos playing Michael Michael McCowan and Michael Monette and Jeff Hart and Javen Tyndall and Mark Walters. To put the ball in play, Mark Walters lobs it into McCowan. McCowan will chase it down. McCowan gets it over to Javen Tyndall. 6 minutes to play in the game. Javen Tyndall on the right wing. Guarded by Brad Knoll. Drives across the top of the key. Goes to the left side, Jeff Hart. Hart will bring it across the top of the key. Right wing to Mark Walters. Walters will put it up from long range. The ball hits off the back of the iron, and up with it is Terry Collins. Collins hustles it down court, goes inside, has it knocked away, and chasing it down, Jeremy King. Gets it over to Brad Knoll, puts it up for three, and rings it in. Brad Knoll hits the three. He now has 8 points in the game. 75-50, Lobos lead. 5:28 to play in the game. Javen Tyndall across the timeline for New Mexico. Brings it down on the left wing for the Lobos. Dribbles to his right. Now dribbles back left. Goes to Mike McCowan. Back to Tyndall. Tyndall drives inside. Puts up the shot. Scores. Javen Tyndall gets it to fall, and he has 10 points. 5 Lobos in double figures. Brad Knoll with the ball on the right wing. Gets it over to Terry Collins. Out to Brandon Jennings. Right back to Terry Collins. Collins guarded by Javen Tyndall. Puts it on the floor. Looks, wants to go inside. Bounces it over to Knoll. Knoll on the left wing. Over to Jeremy King. King going inside. Looks, puts it up. Doesn't go. King with the follow and scores. Jeremy King gets it to go. Jeremy King now with a total of 11 points in the game. Ball to Mark Walters. Lobos lead 77-52. Walters with the ball. Gets it across the timeline for New Mexico. Works with it on the right wing. Now tries to drive. Goes inside. Feeds it over to Michael McCowan. McCowan will bounce it to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall wide open. Takes the shot. Rings the rim. No good. Down with the rebound, Knoll. Knoll hustles it down court for IPFW. Brings it to Jeremy King on the right wing. Back out to Knoll. Knoll on the left wing. Guarded by Mark Walters. Bounced inside to David Simon. Simon will work with the ball. Goes inside. Looks, and the shot is up. Won't go. And a foul is going to be called on Michael McCowan. So with 4:16 left to play in the game, Ruben Douglas. Hey, how you doing? 4:16 left to play. 77-52 Lobos.
Ruben just said tell his parents that he said hello.
Oh, okay. Mr. and Mrs. Douglas, hello from Ruben. At the free throw line is David Simon. Simon's free throw on the way. Good. Simon now with a total of 9 points in the game. Ruben Douglas checks into the ball game, replacing Mark Walters. 4:16 left to play in the game. Terry Collins comes out of the ball game now, and then to replace him is Tyler Clevenger. Simon at the free throw line, ready, has his free throw up, and it's good. He gets both of them. So Simon now in double figures with 10 points. Chad Bell checks into the ball game for New Mexico, replacing. Got to replace somebody. We got too many men out on the floor. Michael McCowan will come on. Ball will be bounced into Javen Tyndall. Tyndall with the ball on the backcourt. Brings the ball up court for New Mexico. Will work it across the timeline. Works with it out near the center circle. Left-hand dribble. Comes left side. Ruben Douglas. Douglas trying to drive baseline. Puts up the 15-footer. It doesn't go. Michael Monette with a rebound. Puts it up. Doesn't go. Brandon Jennings will get the rebound. Gets it over to Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger on the left wing. Brad Knoll. Knoll goes left side to Brandon Jennings. Jennings bounces it inside to David Simon. Simon with a right-handed hook. It's good. Shooting over Chad Bell. So David Simon now with 12 points in the game. He came in averaging 5.9. Javen Tyndall with the ball. Feeds it up court to Jeff Hart. Hart back over to Javen Tyndall. Still in the backcourt now across the 10-second line. Javen Tyndall with a left-hand dribble at the top of the key. Bounce down to Ruben Douglas, and the foul is going to be called underneath. And the foul is on Brad Knoll. And on Brad Knoll, that's number 2. Second personal foul on Brad Knoll. 3:31 left to play in the game. Going to the free throw line will be Ruben Douglas. Douglas with 21 points in the game. He is 4-5 from the free throw line tonight. Up there to shoot 2. 77-56 the score. Lobos lead. Ruben Douglas free throw is good, and it's 78-56 Lobos. Coming into the ball game now will be Quentin Carruthers. Comes in replacing Jeremy King in the lineup for IPFW. And Ruben Douglas at the free throw line to put up a second free throw. Has it on the way, and it's good. Now Mark Walters checks into the ball game for New Mexico. Comes in replacing Ruben Douglas, and there is a timeout. Ruben Douglas now with 23 points. Timeout with 3:31 left to play in the game.
Points for Mark Walters. There are 5 Lobos in double figures. 10 points now for Javen Tyndall, as New Mexico is shooting 53% from the field in the game.
And 53% from outside the three-point line. 10 threes made tonight, so there's another 100 championship on the bank of the West. It will be Tyler Clevenger bringing the ball into the forecourt for IPFW. Will dribble to his left. Now will bring it back to his right with a right-hand dribble. Drives down on the right wing and gets the ball out in front to Brandon Jennings. Jennings brings it right back to Clevenger. Lobbed underneath to Simon. Simon in heavy traffic puts it up. Doesn't go. Foul call. Foul on Javen Tyndall, and on Tyndall, the 5'11 junior college transfer, that's number 2. And it's well over the 10 foul limit here in the second half. And going to the free throw line will be David Simon, who has 12 points tonight. And he is 4 of 9 from the free throw line. So Simon at the free throw line puts up his first free throw. It rings the rim, no good. And that's with 3:12 left to play in the game. Simon is 4 of 10 from the free throw line. All the other guys from IPFW are shooting well, and Simon hits that one. 13 points for Simon now. Came in averaging 5.9. Mark Walters to put the ball in play. Looks to pass, gets it into Javen Tyndall. Tyndall will work with it in the backcourt, trying to follow Mark Walters down court. Tyndall passes across the timeline to Walters. Down right side to Chad Bell. Bell right back to Mark Walters. Walters tries to drive, and a reach-in foul being called. And a foul is on Quentin Carruthers, the 6'4 freshman out of Flint, Michigan. Hey, we have a football player from Flint, Michigan, Adrian Boyd. Wonder if they know each other. Carruthers is a freshman. Boyd's a junior at New Mexico. But Quentin Carruthers, a freshman from Flint, Michigan, 6'4", 170. Picks up the foul. Going to the free throw line, Mark Walters. Walters was 17 points in the game, 12 in the first half. Free throw on the way, and it'll roll off the right side. So Walters will be shooting his second free throw with 2:59 left to play. Walters ready, on the way, and this one's too hard, and the ball tipped out and is grabbed by Quentin Carruthers. Gets the ball over on the right wing to Brad Knoll, who's into the ball game. Knoll, the senior from Spring Arbor, Michigan. Knoll will drive across the top of the key, got it by Javen Tyndall. Still works with it on the left wing. Now picks it up, bounces it out to Brandon Jennings. Jennings on the right wing to Tyler Clevenger. Lobbed underneath, and the ball goes off the hands of David Simon. Coming into the ball game will be Kyle Threischer, a 6'8 freshman out of Pekin, Indiana. Full court pressure being used by Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne. Mark Walters to put it in play, bounces it into Jeff Hart. Hart picks it up, gets it over to Mark Walters. Walters works, gets it up court to Javen Tyndall. Tyndall cross-court pass to Jeff Hart. Hart on the left wing, right back to Tyndall. 2:25 left to play in the game. Tyndall backing in to Carruthers. Will drive across the top of the key. Now goes inside, bounces it to Mark Walters. Walters will bring it back out in front. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Over to Javen Tyndall. Bounced inside to Chad Bell. Bell trying to make a move inside. Drives the baseline. Looks, puts it up. Doesn't go. Ball tipped out, and coming down with us, Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger brings it down court for IPFW. Puts up the shot. Goes. He's fouled. That was a good move by Tyler Clevenger. And the foul is on Jeff Hart, and that's 2 on Jeff Hart. 79-59 Lobos, and going to the free throw line will be Tyler Clevenger, the 6'3 freshman out of Winchester, Indiana. First time at the free throw line tonight, and the basket he made a moment ago was his first 2 points of the evening. And he'll be up there trying for the three-point play, has it on the way, and it's good. It rang the rim, went up, kissed off the backboard, and fell through. 79-60 Lobos. Mark Walters gets his ball into Javen Tyndall. He's double teamed. Tyndall goes to Jeff Hart. A reach-in foul on Brandon Jennings. So Jennings picks up personal foul number 4. And going to the free throw line will be Jeff Hart. And Joe O'Neill, do you have a feeling this is going to be a free throw shooting contest in the last minute and 59 seconds?
Well, actually, I looked up and I saw Coach Knoll kind of upset with his player there for making that foul, down 19 with 2 minutes to go in the game. What I find interesting is when New Mexico clears its bench, in that respect, they're taking Jamal Williams and Ruben Douglas. Most of the guys on the court have gotten significant playing time this year.
Jeff Hart hits the free throw. Hart with a career high 14 points tonight. And he's 3 of 3 from the free throw line, and it's 80-60 New Mexico with 1:59 to play. And Jeff Hart at the free throw line to put up a second free throw, and it's good. Jeff Hart now with a career high 15 points. Ball to Clevenger. Clevenger drives down court, looks, gets the ball out to Brad Knoll, puts it up for 3, won't go, and the ball goes out of bounds, and it will be IPFW's ball in. And coming into the ball game, I believe for the first time this year is Lawrence Metz. Lawrence Metz, a 6-foot freshman out of San Francisco, California. He walked on.
Yes, he did.
IPFW's ball in to Brad Knoll. Knoll takes the jumper and scores. He hits a 2. 2 from the left side. Brad Knoll scoring. He now has 10 points in the game. Mark Walters puts the ball in play to Jeff Hart. Back over to Mark Walters, and Walters is fouled by Tyler Clevenger. So Clevenger picks up the personal foul. That's his second.
Maybe they are telling him to foul, Mike. I know he wants him to full court pressure and be aggressive, but I don't know if he wants his team to foul, but they've done it the last 2 times the Lobos have had the ball.
And going to the free throw line for New Mexico will be Mark Walters, who has 17 points tonight, a career high. He's 3 of 5 from the free throw line as Walters. 1:40 left to play on the game. Walters' free throw on the way, good. And it's 82-62, a 20-point lead for New Mexico. And Mark Walters has a career high 18 points. Every time he makes a point, it adds to his career high. So we don't have to keep saying that. Next one on the way, he has 19 points.
Is that a career high?
I think so.
Okay.
83-62, Lobos lead. Ball into Tyler Clevenger. Clevenger with the ball across the timeline, trying to drive on Lawrence Metz, and a foul is going to be called on Lawrence Metz. So Lawrence Metz picks up the personal foul. That's his first. 83-62 New Mexico with 1:34 left to play in the game. At the free throw line is Tyler Clevenger, 1 of 1 from the free throw line. He has 3 points tonight. And he is up there. Free throw on the way, good. 83-63. Lobos lead.
You got to cut Lawrence Metz some slack, though. He wanted to foul to get into the box score. I don't think you get in for just minutes played.
No. Now Mark Walters breaks the press, comes down on the right wing, will back away for New Mexico, throws it out to Lawrence Metz, over to Jeff Hart. Hart cross-court pass to Mark Walters. Walters working at the top of the key. Walters tries to drive in. Now we'll go inside, feeds it underneath to Michael Monette, puts it up and in. Good feed by Mark Walters. Michael Monette with his first 2 points. 85-64, Lobos lead. And with the ball over to Brad Knoll. Knoll backing in to Jeff Hart. Puts up the shot. It's short. Scramble for the rebound, and it's grabbed by Jeff Hart. Hart will feed it down court to Michael Monette. Monette goes in, head fakes, lays it up on the reverse. 4 points for Michael Monette. Monette has his first points of the year, and IPFW is calling a 20-second timeout with 54 seconds left to play in the game. And the Lobos leading 87-64. And, you know, Joe, in years past with New Mexico, when it gets like this, it gets a little sloppy, but not with these guys, it doesn't seem like.
No, and that's what I'm saying. You know, when other teams in the past have cleared their bench, guys would get on the court that maybe hadn't been on the court much all season. Well, other than Lawrence Metz, these Lobo players out on the court right now have had a lot of playing time this season. I'm sure Michael Monette is happy to get his last 2 buckets as well. 4 points in the game for Monette.
Officials are trying to get everybody to go, and the young man's out there with a mop, mopping up in the paint. So officials mop staff and chases him off, and IPFW puts it in play. Tyler Clevenger with the ball. Clevenger will go on the right wing over to Brad Knoll. Knoll, or check that, that's number 34, Graham Nesbitt. Gets it out to Clevenger from long range, doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound, and grabbing it is Lawrence Metz. Fed down to Monette. Monette puts it up and in. Monette with 6 points. Tyler Clevenger with the ball. 33 seconds to play. 89-64 New Mexico. Clevenger gets it over to Graham Nesbitt. Nesbitt works with it out the top of the key. Will work, get it over to Clevenger. Clevenger trying to drive on Jeff Hart. Goes inside, feeds it on the left side for a stuff by Quentin Carruthers. Quentin Carruthers with the stuff. 89-66 Lobos. Chad Bell over to Mark Walters. Walters will break the press. Walters drives down, goes right side. Monette lays it up, scores. Michael Monette gets another bucket, and he is fouled underneath. And the foul is on Brandon Jennings, and Jennings is fouled out of the ball game. 91-66 the score, and Michael Monette has 8 points in the game, and he's gotten them all, Joe, in the last minute and a half.
Yeah, it's be nice to get Lawrence Metz a shot here, Mike, before the end of the game. It's going to be tough with less than 12 seconds to go, but Monette, I'm sure, is not going to argue. He's got 8 points in the last 60 seconds of the game, has a chance to make it 9 here with the free throw.
Monette at the free throw line for the first time. Brandon Jennings fouling out of the ball game, but they've got a minute, so we'll be here a little while longer now with the score 91-66. Free throw line will be Michael Monette. For Monette, it'll be his first time at the free throw line this season. He has 8 points in the game at the free throw line, bouncing the ball. Now he's ready. Free throw on the way, and it will come out. Down with a rebound. Walters puts it up, doesn't go. Scramble for the rebound, and down with it is Tyler Clevenger. Fed on the left side to Nesbitt. Puts it up for three. Rings the rim, no good. Monette with a rebound. Fires it up court, and the ball is tipped away, and that is the end of the ball game. That is the end of the ball game with a final score. New Mexico 91.